All right, group. I'm gonna try to roll right into this one. I haven't made a Kit Kat, so let's see how this goes. But what I do is anytime I have, let's see, what screen is this? Anytime I have a part that I'm trying to make, the way I always approach it is I always think of how I would make it if I had to. So if I look at a Kit Kat, I see this as rectangles that loft to each other. There's a very narrow lip. Then there's a smaller rectangle. So I count 1 rectangle, 2 rectangles, 3 rectangles, 4 rectangles. So I went ahead and got those measurements. And I'm going to start this part. Hopefully we won't have errors, so I don't have to remake this video. But I always select the XY plane. I'm partial to it. And I'm going to use a center point rectangle. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the first rectangle, the biggest rectangle, which is the bottom. I measured that as being 0.6 width and then 2.75 inches, I guess tall, we would say. Whoops. 2.75. All right, there we go. That's my base. So what I'm going to do is, so I made this on the XY plane. And so I have to, in order to loft, I have to have a sketch that's offset from it. So that means I'm going to have to use the offset from plane, specifically from the XY plane. How much? I measured that the next section was 0.075 away. So essentially, this little lip is 0.75 is what I'm saying. So I'll do the same thing. I'll create a new sketch on that work plane, and I'll use center point rectangle once again. These dimensions I got as very slightly different. 0.595. And essentially, so I keep it consistent, I made this 2.745. You'll notice that that's like hardly any lip. I mean, that's less than, I mean, you're hardly even going to be able to see it. It's almost going to look flat. Could I have offset? Yeah, of course, absolutely. I would have to project and then offset. So I just went with recreating it. So then I'm going to loft from this rectangle to this rectangle. And there we go. If I wanted to make it more apparent, I could have made this dimension, this rectangle smaller. But that's what I got. When I measured, that's what I got. So I'm going to go with it. Now I'm going to, on this face now, I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch, because you got to remember I said 4 triangles. So one of the rectangles was in here and it was slightly smaller. And now we're going to see more of a difference. This one I saw 0.54. And then this one I got 2.605. So you see that's a much smaller rectangle. So now I have that rectangle on the face, and then offset from this plane. How much was it offset? Well, I measured the entire thickness to be 0.365, but I have already offset it 0.075. All right, and now I'm going to create a sketch on this, and I'm going to create my last rectangle, so my 4th rectangle. And that one was 0.465 in width, tab, and then 2.53 in height. Why am I doing that? Because now I'm going to loft from this rectangle to this rectangle. And there we go. So I'm going to hide my work planes. It's already looking pretty good. Hopefully I won't experience some kind of error. And yeah, that looks okay. That looks pretty Kit Katish. In terms of embossing the Kit Kat, because I still have one left right here. I'm going to flip it over. I see that Kit Kat is embossed. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get the exact text, but let's go for it. I'm going to go ahead and click. Sure. I'll draw along here. Really, that's kind of an odd box I drew, but it's capital K-I-T, cat. I can highlight it. I can select other styles. I have no idea what these styles look like. So, best guess. These are clearly not text. All right, let's go with it. I'll italicize it. I'll bold it. And more importantly, I'll make it a little larger. I probably should measure how tall it is, so at least I have a rough idea. It's about 0.36 in height. And it doesn't really matter what color it is. And one of the things I have to do now is, that looks good, but I'm gonna essentially, what I'm gonna do is, I need to expand my text box, so I'm just gonna grab it. I kind of drew it incorrectly. I drew it long ways. I should have drawn it more like this. So there we go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and rotate this. So I'm gonna select the object, the center point of rotation, we'll make it this corner, and then I'll rotate it 90 degrees, perfect. And then I'm gonna go ahead and move it onto there. And the goal, as you probably guessed, is to emboss that text, and I'll actually engrave depths. I have no idea. Let's see what 0.1 looks like. That is way too big, so I could always edit it, and I'll make it really small. So 0.1, let's see what that looks like. Perfect, cool. So there I got my KitKat. Obviously, like I said, I could probably make it a little, a little better than that, but in terms of selecting a color, I don't know what I'm gonna select. It's gotta be some kind of brown, maybe like wood or something like that, maybe a walnut. Yeah, that's not bad actually. That's pretty good for a first choice. And that looks good. All right. This video might end, but there's kind of actually something more I'm gonna mess around with really quick. So that's the center plane right there. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it visible. If I wanted to make this hollow, because it's got a filling, one of the things I could do is, let me think about this. I know. I'm gonna go ahead and click that. Ooh, I'll teach you a new feature. If I hit F7, it actually does slice graphic. You don't have to hit F7, just FYI. I could just right click on here and then, I think I have to do a sketch on here actually. If I go there, I know there's like another way to do it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I just right click on it and then slice graphic. What it does is basically takes a section to it. And then I'm gonna have some fun with this. I'm gonna project the geometry of these lines. I think I got them all. Then maybe I can offset. And I'll make it sink in, I don't know, 0.02. And I'll do the same with this one. 0.02. Sure. This one, 0.02. And then this one, 0.02. Obviously, I can extend these lines, and the kind of goal that I'm thinking of, I haven't really thought this through if I'm being honest, but one of my thoughts is that what I could do, and I'm probably going to run out of time. Let me trim that. Let me trim that. I can trim this whole line. Yeah, I think I got this. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to extrude that sketch, and I'm going to go symmetrically, and I'm going to make it a cut, and I'm going to cut it, let's go with our smallest dimension, which I think was 2.5-ish, just about. And I know maybe this doesn't look like anything special, but I'll just show you why this was cool. Because if I slice graphic now, it's hollow. Yeah, so I could create a separate part, and I could go ahead and infill it with whatever the heck is in a KitKat. And yeah, so that's it. And there's my KitKat. And then I'm going to hide my work plane, which is the XY plane. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this in realistic like I always like to do. And then, oh, that looks a little weirder now. I'll put some shadows on it. I don't know if I wanted reflections. Maybe I'll put it in one light or something like that. Yeah, it looks a little better. And then I'll turn it in the orientation that I want. There we go. Cool. Nice. Look at that.